Hello everyone and welcome to Module 13 of English 111. This is about evaluative writing and traditional media. So you are going to evaluate something and present it in the format of traditional media. In this case, the format of a letter to the editor. So I'm going to show you some formatting stuff that you're going to need to do, and I'm also going to show you how to go about evaluating a form of media. Click on assignment 13-1. It says that it's common to have conversations about our favorite or least favorite movies or restaurants, which make evaluation one of the most common arguments that we employ, often using the technique on a daily basis. You convince your friends which movies or TV series they should watch, which albums they should stream, and which video games they should download. This is all part of a review process excuse me, in which you have previously experienced what you are describing, and now you are making reasoned quality judgments. So part of the evaluation process then is you need to have some sort of personal experience with something, and you need to be able to use your experience to try and convince someone of something, or to at the very least assess where this form of media, whether it's a restaurant, a TV show, whatever it is, actually where they stand in relation to certain criteria, okay? So your assignment is to compose a critical evaluation of some piece of media or some experience or product. Take the pre-writing that you do on your own and expand it into a full-length film/restaurant/album/TV review using techniques learned in class. So for those of you who are a bit younger, it used to be the case that newspapers would publish people's opinions and people's reviews of various products or various places like restaurants, movies that they saw, and so forth. What people would do is they would go out and they would experience something. They would then write a letter to the editor of that newspaper with a review of that product or with a review of that location and that service that they're providing. And that's essentially what you're going to do. You're going to need to evaluate some sort of product or some service and then write it as if you're writing writing a letter to the editor, okay? Your review can be positive or negative, but your opinion must be grounded in experience and logic. So you have to write about something you've actually gone through. And your review must be evaluative and analytical, not exclusively summative. You can't just summarize what things are like at this place or what the movie was like or what the album is like. You have to evaluate it based on criteria. Remember readings from last week about establishing criteria. Your review should be written in a professional voice for traditional media, and it should be a minimum of 700 words in length. This is an important assignment that counts a lot towards your overall grade, so make sure you're giving this everything you got. It'll be graded based on that you actually have written it in the traditional form of a letter to an editor, that is, you give a specific name of the media or product or experience you're reviewing, that your review should compare the media based on a benchmark standard of similar media and include at least 4 criteria to rate or compare your media, okay? It should be 700 words. So let me show you how you could go about doing this. I've created this little matrix here, and let's say that I want to review a restaurant that's in my town. There's a restaurant downtown called Antonella's, so I'm just going to I'll just choose that. Now, you could do, again, a restaurant, a TV series, a movie, a book or a book series, a video game, something of that choice. I'm just going to choose a restaurant. But I have to think to myself, okay, what are some general criteria that people use to evaluate restaurants? Like when they write a review of it on Yelp, which young people might not even be aware of, maybe Reddit then? Or I don't know, I'm kind of not into, I haven't done much with Reddit. But when people write reviews, they use certain criteria by which they measure the place's performance. So in this case, criteria for a restaurant might be something like the dining room is clean, quality of taste, maybe consistent quality of taste, if a person goes back there. Um, Speed of service. Let's see. Atmosphere. Is this the sort of place you could take a date for a romantic evening? That sort of a thing, and so forth. So there's certain criteria that are used to evaluate restaurants, and so I want to list some of those. And according to your assignment guidelines, you need at least 4. Okay, you can have more than that, but at least 4. Now the benchmark part, there's a document in there that talks about benchmarking. What does it mean to benchmark? Benchmark means that you look at what similar places that offer that same kind of service are like, and you look at where they all stand in terms of these criteria. That is, what is kind of the average performance or the average expectation for each of these criteria. Now, I can use any kind of rating system that I want, and you can do the same here. Do you want to use like a 4-star rating, like 1, 2, 3, or 4 stars, 4 being great and 1 being poor? Do you want to give a number out of 10, like 8 out of 10, or do you want to give a number out of 100? You could use either of those systems. I'm going to just do the number out of 100 system. And so when I benchmark, I'm thinking of what are other restaurants in this area that also I could rate them on. And so generally speaking, most of the restaurants are quite clean, and so I would give them a 95. And the quality of the taste, maybe I want to give a 92 or whatever. And I want to go down and I want to rate them all. And then I want to rate my actual chosen place by comparison. Maybe Antonella's is much cleaner, and so I want to give it a 98. Maybe the quality of taste is much better, and I want to give it a 99. Or maybe it's not, and I want to give it a 42 or a 45. Okay, so you get to rate then this location or this product and compare it to the others. This is important for you because in your writing, when you actually write the letter, you want to be able to point out where your chosen site stands in relation to other similar places or products or books or movies or whatever based on those criteria. So I would write something like Antonella's, their dining room is cleaner than other places. I would give them a 98 out of 100 on that mark, whereas other places that are of similar style downtown would normally get a 95. This place is elite in this way, and then I could describe that. And so then maybe I would bullet point the justification, of why it's cleaner, why the quality of taste is better, and the consistent quality of taste. So you can make a little matrix real fast to kind of like get your thoughts organized and in order. And then you want to come over to your document and you actually want to write it. Now, before I do write it, let me show you this resource, the Writing Letters to the Editor. This discusses what a letter to the editor is and why people would write them and so forth. But I'm going to call your attention to the Examples tab, and I want you to notice some things. The letters start with something called a salutation, that is a greeting to the editor of the publication. So this one's to the editor of the Herald. And notice that it's on its own line and it's followed by a colon. And you want to do the same thing with yours. This one's to the editor of the Lawrence Journal World. So you need a salutation line. You notice also the formatting. Single space text with a space in between the paragraphs. No indentations. This isn't an MLA style at all. And that's the thing. When you are presenting information in a different genre, you have to present it according to the conventions of that genre. So you're not going to use MLA style on this paper. You want it to look like these letters, okay? And that includes something here called a signature block. You want a sincerely at the end, and I'm going to tell you, this is a criteria for you. You want to have 4 spaces between sincerely and your name, okay? Here they've got them, looks like it's just 2, but you're going to want 4. Why do you want 4? Because you need the space there where you can actually, if it were a traditional letter to the editor, you would actually print it out, sign it, and then put it in an envelope and mail it. And you actually need room to sign between the sincerely and your name. That's where you would actually sign your name. So let's come over here. Here's my normal MLA style report, but I'm not using MLA style, so I'm going to delete all this stuff. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. Okay, I'm going to left align this. And I can't have it be double spaced. I need single spacing, so I'm going to change my spacing to single. But I want a space between the paragraphs so I can still see paragraph breaks. And there we go. So I want to start with a salutation to the editor of the Fayetteville Observer. That's the newspaper here in a publication here in Fayetteville. Now, organization names get italicized, so I want you to italicize it, and notice I followed it with a colon. I'm going to have content here, and then when I eventually finish my content, I'm going to hit, go down 2 spaces, I'm going to type sincerely, and then I'm going to hit enter 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to type my name, because I would sign my name in this block here. Okay? So that's the formatting that you're going to use. Now, in terms of the content, this is where you're going to translate your ratings into paragraphs. Not to the number 2 paragraphs. That's where you're going to translate your ratings into paragraphs. I said that kind of funny. So how do I do that? Well, I would introduce one of the criteria. But I probably want to do that after I first introduce where I went. So I'm going to have a paragraph where I say, you know, I visited this place. So this is my paragraph. I visited such and such a place, and I enjoyed it or I disliked it. Or I downloaded this game, and I'm playing it, and it's really popular, and so forth. But give me some sort of introduction of your service or product or experience first. And then I would introduce the criteria. My first criteria is the dining room is clean. And so then I'm going to write a paragraph in which I talk about the cleanliness of the location. And I want to give a rating on it. And so maybe at the end of my paragraph I would say, I would rate the overall cleanliness of the dining area a 95 out of 100. Or whatever rating I choose. And then I move on to my next criteria. My next criterion was quality of taste. I then want to introduce the quality of taste, discuss the type of food that they have, and I want to include how that compares to other locations. So I'm going to have my benchmarking inside of the paragraphs, and then I want to wrap up with my overall rating. I would rate the overall quality of taste a 99 out of 100 compared to a benchmark rating of 92 out of 100. Okay, so I've got to have the comparisons. So there you are. You want to evaluate your chosen media or experience, write it in the format of a traditional letter to the editor, and rate the quality of the different criteria and compare them also to benchmark criteria. That's your goal. If you have questions on this assignment, please email me. I'm happy to help. Good luck.